We're back from our Techno conference break, and this week we're talking about system summary on FTK Feature Focus. Welcome to this episode of Feature Focus, where we're going to talk about system summary. I'm Justin Tolman. I'm the Director of Training for North America for Access Data, Nextero company. And we talked about reporting system summary artifacts way back in episode 2. In this episode, we're going to take a deeper dive into what the system summary is, where the artifacts come from, and some of the specific artifacts that are parsed out within the system summary. All right, let's take a look at it. One thing that you're going to need to do to get this tab to populate is choose the processing option from the processing option window when you create the case, shown here, or you can do it from additional analysis once you've already got into the case. If you decide you didn't want to do it up front, you want to do it now, shown here. So either way you want to do it, you do have to activate the processing option to get it to bring in. The artifacts that are listed will depend completely on what operating system that you are examining, as well as the user activity within that operating system, because of course, if they didn't generate a certain artifact, there's nothing to parse. We don't show empty categories, so they just won't appear. Most of these artifacts will be pulled from the Windows registry. As of right now, the system summary only parses Windows artifacts, but stay tuned. Updates are coming very soon. One thing I should say is that this tab has sort of existed for a long time within FTK. It used to be called System Information, and it had a different look and a different output, not nearly as robust as this. This is a major update to FTK 7.4.2, and we're really happy with how it came out. And with that came a change in the name of the tab. So if you're thinking, wait a minute, that's always been there, sort of, but it's a lot better now, so you should check it out. The artifacts that are parsed are broken out into various sections, again, depending on what is there. But for example, on my screen, we can see applications, browsers, that's further divided into other categories: device interaction, networks, operating system information, recent files, and Windows events. Now, like I said, most of this information is pulled from the registry. If you want information specific to the Windows event logs, those currently reside in our section on Windows event logs in the overview tab as it stands now. So combining that and system summary, you can get a complete picture of what is happening on the system. So within the applications group, we have various things such as installed, which is what I'm on now, and we can see what programs are installed, when they were installed, if that information is available, and the versioning of that software. So we can see Access Data's FTK Imager is installed, when it was installed, and what version is on there. Notice that we have 2. Now, why might we see 2 different things installed? Well, they could have 2 of the same program installed, of course. In this case, though, we have actually 2 images loaded up. You can see one from the WinSync and one from Conspiracy. Okay, so we save everything together. You get a full case look. If you want to narrow down your artifacts by specific evidence item, which makes complete sense, you can click the drop down here and choose the specific image that you want to view. The numbers will update through, as you see there. And notice now we only have one Access Data FTK Imager at the top that ties back to WinSync. So you can choose which one you want to run, all, however you want to do that. We also pull prefetch information, user assist, startup items, all the things that you would need to know about various applications to get an idea for what the user is doing. We also have browser information. Now you may be thinking, wait a minute, there is an internet tab. Why do I need it here? This location has one thing that at this time the internet tab doesn't, and that's all the URLs regardless of browser in one location. You can simply choose the URLs here and you get 45,105. It doesn't care what browser it came from. It's going to list them all in one row. That's a commonly asked for feature. Came up at Techno several times. We have it right here. If you're going to the internet tab, that's of course going to be broken down by browser and by specific artifact type, such as is it the history database or is it like the network share or something like that. Device interaction will carry things like Amcache and USB devices such as mount history, different things like that. Okay, operating system info, of course, group accounts, owner information coming from the SAM, and then we have time zone information, all that sort of stuff. The owner information commonly pulled straight from the software key, and you have your various types of information there that FTK is always displayed to you by default. Moving through, you have your recent files, including jump lists, links for your double clicks, MRUs, shell bags, etc. So a whole lot of information parsed out. And one thing you may have noticed is as I click through here, the columns auto switch to display the information that is relevant for that thing. Now, if I were to select, say, something like applications at a top level, it's just going to go to normal, okay? Because how do you display 6, 7 different things? But when you get down into the specific categories, notice we switch over to prefetch. If I come down to searches, it's going to be keyword searches, and we have the relevant columns there. Again, prepping you to either export those out, filter, make it easy to view just flat out, all that sort of stuff. The other thing you can do here to minimize clutter, if that is something you need to do, is you can always select some section. We'll just select prefetch here. We have all of our run times and last run times, and we can hit the home key on our keyboard and get rid of everything else. And now we only see the prefetch. If you click end, it's going to bring them all back and you have everything back. Now, one way to take that home and end key to the next level is we can actually come up to view, tab layout, and we can add a new tab layout. And maybe what we want to call it is networks. We're just going to call it networks and we'll click OK. We get our new tab and wait a minute, it's not the system summary tab. Well, that's because the system summary tab is already an abstraction of the overview tab. So we'll just expand out file category. We'll come down to system summary and we wanted networks. So we'll select that and then we're going to hit the home key. And now we have just what we want. We just have the networks in this one. And so we now have a new tab that will carry on from case to case to case. That's only going to show our networks information such as connections, and we have network interfaces here that were connected to various ports, and of course our connections to our Wi-Fi access points or anything connected there listed out. So then we could select those and report on them, view them, whatever the case may be for your investigation. So the system summary using the home keys can be pulled out, create your own custom tabs so that you can just go to the things you want very quickly. Lastly, we'll take a look at how FTK would display this information on other tabs. Not that you would really want to look at them at other tabs, but just for validation purposes and just to show that it's consistent with the rest of the interface. If you were to jump over to the Explorer tab into the config directory where the registry sits in System32, and if I select software, all the files that you see listed here in the file list pane are children of the software registry hive. Now, it's just a registry hive. It doesn't really have files within it, but we've created those files, and here is all that information displayed for the system summary. You could, of course, select these and see that information, but of course, you're going to stick with the system summary tab because the whole point of the system summary tab is to display that information without you having to work for it. Let's be honest. Okay, so if you have not updated to FTK 7.4.2, there's a lot of features that you're missing out on. And one specific one is the system summary, which can save you a lot of time in building a profile of your user's activities and the system behavior in there. We have Registry Viewer. You can continue to use that, of course, but this does a lot of that work for you. Keep Registry Viewer around to validate. All right, check out episode 2 if you want to know how to report on some of this stuff. We're back on our weekly release schedule, so we'll see you next week, and thanks for watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them down below. Thanks for watching.